Varsity is a platform for the celebration
of student sport within Nottingham.
And I am proud to represent
my team,
university
and city
in this historic competition.
In the name of all the competitors and spectators,
I pledge to uphold the true spirit of sportsmanship,
to respect our opponents
and the facilities
and communities
in which the competition takes place.
We will respect everyone,
regardless of our differences.
We'll give everything for our teammates,
abiding by the rules
which govern our sports and the series overall.
We win together.
We lose together.
For the glory of sport.
May the best team win.
Good evening and welcome to a windy Lady Bay Sports Ground here in Nottingham for this evening's instalment of the Varsity Series American football match between the University of Nottingham students and the NTU Renegades. I'm joined by two representatives, one from each club. I have James Ramsey representing NTU. Good evening, James.
Evening, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. And I've got Will Hobbs representing the University of Nottingham. How you doing, Will?
Evening, how are you doing? Thank you. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, before we go on looking at today's game, this is an annual event that's been running for the last 7 years now. University of Nottingham are currently 6-1 down in the series, which unfortunately the gentleman to my right isn't overly pleased about. But before, as I say, we go on to tonight's fixture, let's have a look at the highlights from last year's game. So initially, the NTU Renegades rammed the ball up the middle for their opening score of the game. Shortly after that, defence, the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage and NTU went in for their second score on a lovely pick six. This one was played at Harvey Haddon. And from that point, the University of Nottingham replied with a beautiful 30-yard pass for their opening score of the afternoon. NTU was soon back on the board again through the ground game, and a similar score to the opening one saw the University students take a 3-touchdown-to-1 lead. The scoring wasn't done there, though. University of Nottingham students with a lovely roll to the right and a toe tapper of a catch for their second TD of that particular game. The final score came though on a pick six, a second pick six from the Trent students, and that wrapped up the score of 25-12. So the sixth win of the series for the Nottingham Trent University students last year. I remember it. I remember you being with us on that day as well, and it was a pretty good game. Good night from all accounts.
Yeah, it was fantastic to watch. It was my first year there, not as part of the squad, and it was amazing to watch just from the sideline, just seeing everyone's enthusiasm and the celebration at the end of the winning. Yeah, it was amazing day.
So before we talk a little bit more about tonight's game, let's recap both the Trent's season and the University of Nottingham students' season, and also talk a little bit about what you guys are up to at the moment. So if we start with Trent, obviously I know Coach Giles and Coach Messam and Coach Walkinshaw quite well. Spoke to Coach Walkinshaw before the game, and not the best season by Trent standards, but somewhat for how 2018's been.
Well, we've been defeated by one team and one team only, and the rest of the season we played very, very well. We played against several teams that were supposed to come into this league being able to beat us, and we beat them down. Unfortunately, the one team that beat us went on to beat us again and again. So we've done exceptionally well. We just can't seem to find the chink in the armour.
And as far as the University of Nottingham students are concerned, a bit of a different picture this year.
We've had a hell of a season, really. It's been a change from top down, coaching staff, new imports coming in, managed to have a hell of a recruiting season at the start, and the whole change in the culture has really kind of driven forward, and you've seen the results really. Undefeated all the way through the playoffs, and a really, really emphatic win in the finals.
Absolutely. I mentioned to Coach Brittle beforehand what that change was down to, and he did mention Coach Scott, who obviously you know very well from your time currently with the Tamworth Phoenix. What does, from your experience with Coach Scott, what does he bring to a team that's maybe has had that turnaround for this season for the University of Nottingham?
I think he'll be the first to say he takes a lot of what he does from when he was working over in the States. He worked under the now head coach of Temple, and he takes a lot of that kind of energy, a lot of the juice, a lot of the brings a real different energy and atmosphere to the team. You can hear them all now in the background, really going for it, and then getting people excited about the football. And when everyone finds it fun, I think we all know that's when people play the best. And I think that's one of the main things he's brought with us.
Absolutely. And again, speaking to Coach Walkinshaw before the game, he mentioned that for the last few years, Trent have been on top of the series, and they've been used to getting the better of the men in green for these last few years. In your opinion, what needs to change to get Trent back to that point where they were in such winning ways of late?
Well, if you look at the games that we've played against Uniov this season, every game has got closer. So the first game was a bit of a blowout, the second game was more contested, and the last game mainly came down to mistakes. So I think the mistakes are possibly what needs to be taken out of the game. It's simple things, but it's things that have been worked on in the last few weeks. And I do believe it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people believe.
Looking at the rosters, both teams not necessarily got all the starters out for this afternoon's from what they've had during the year. Trent particularly look a little depleted from the roster that I've seen.
We have lost 2 starting O-linemen, which is going to hit us hard, obviously. We've lost Jack Rice, he's in Europe as well. Natal's not playing, and he's been a key part of our season. I'm not sure of some other people that may be missing, but I know that some key players are missing, yeah.
And from the University of Nottingham's point of view, I know you're not as connected with them as you were, but you know certain guys who play the Knicks, and how are they looking for this evening?
Well, we've got a few guys obviously kind of taking it easy now, so they're not competing in varsity. Some of the guys who, even the imports who were playing throughout the year, are also stepping down. We're letting the rookies and the second strings really take control of the team now to push forward for the next season. So it's really going to be like seeing a whole new team. A couple of the guys who are just about to graduate, but mostly it's going to be fresh guys who want to come prove themselves for next year.
So varsity in general, we'll have a little talk about the series this year in terms of the sports. What does varsity mean to you guys? What does it mean to the guys out there? What does it mean to the students who aren't necessarily involved with any of these teams?
I think varsity, I think you'd agree, is a sense of pride in your university. It's a sense of sporting excellence that we can only express to each other's universities, because you can fight people all around the country, but it really means it when it comes down to varsity, I think.
And to you, Will?
I think it's great. I'd agree. I think it's a great way for the rest of the student body to get involved with all the athletes of the university, to come down and watch and support both sides, just to get the whole of Nottingham connected.
It's a strange one, because obviously both teams have had important games this year. You guys obviously in the Div 1 final that you won to get promotion to the Premiership. You guys with the league rivalry this year. Do the students get up for this game anymore, or is it an end of season just a bit of fun?
Well, like I said, we've got a lot of the younger guys are going to use this game to prove themselves and develop for next season. So I think that's what we'll see a lot of. So we've got Pat Daly, our starting quarterback, won't be playing today. We'll start with Tunde, who's young, fresh. He's played a lot throughout the season, but mainly for the second half of games, and he'll be really ready to prove himself for next season.
And I suppose for the Renegades, coming off the back of the losses against the Uniov, this is the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, it's something that people have been talking about for a long time. It's obviously something that's, every time you bring it up, it's sore, and it gets sorer every time. And with the time that I've been here, I've lost once and we've won once. So this is for me the personal tiebreaker. So we'll see what happens for me today.
Indeed. So currently the score stands in this series at a score of 7-3 to the University of Nottingham this year, this academic year. So I think the lacrosse have just won for Trent in the background this afternoon. So that takes it 7-4. I'm not quite sure how many sporting fixtures still left, but a win for Trent here would obviously bring it back to 7-5 and be like you say, a great source of pride.
I believe is it 12 to win? I think that's right, isn't it? 12 events. It's going to put it puts a lot of pressure on the Renegades every year. They're expected to win. It's an expected point, which is why I think we need it here. And I think if we're able to bring it back to 7-5, it will definitely put a bit more zest back in the rest of the Trent fixtures.
So, final thoughts then. I always like to do this before we go to kick-off, so you know what's coming. You probably know what's coming as well. Score predictions. You would think you'd pick pink. You'd think you'd pick green. Is it going to be close? I mean, having watched the University of Nottingham students down in Worcester at that Div 1 final, they look domineering, but like you've said, lots of newer players, younger and experienced players. Predictions then, gents?
I've got to back us. But I think NTU are going to come out and fight quite hard, so I'm going to put it down 28-0.
28-0. Look at James laughing at that one. James, you got anything to say about that?
Well, I think in the actual playoff game, we were actually up first and then made 2 mistakes to go down. So I think it's going to be 1 score. I don't think... I'm going to give it to Pink because of pride. I think it's going to be exceptionally hard. I think they are going to have to grind it out. But I think there is a possibility that we could see an upset today.
Okay.
Not an upset for me.
Okay, well, thank you ever so much for joining us, gents. Maybe if we get a chance, we'll have a chat at half-time and sum up the first half. But for now, we're not long away from kick-off, so we'll hand you over to this and we will rejoin you shortly. We managed to catch up, incidentally, while I think about it, with the coaches before the game. First coach we managed to catch was Coach Brittle for the University of Nottingham. Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
Very good, Matthew. How are you?
I'm very well. Nice to see you again in this elevated role on camera. The 2018 season for the University of Nottingham, how's it been?
Been one of the best seasons we've ever had by far. Promotion to the Premiership, which was our target. We was also voted Team of the Year by the University of Nottingham as well. So we had a really, really good season, hopefully finishing it off with a good win today.
What's made the difference, particularly this year then, from previous years when you say this is the best year you've ever had?
One of the major factors, we've got a lot more coaches with a new head coach, a new scheme on offence, new scheme on defence. Not saying the old scheme was any bad, but this one seems to have gone better with the players. The players have really worked hard to get into it, and that's proved on the field.
Coach Scott come in this year. Has he made a significant difference with what he's brought to the team?
Yeah, by far, yeah. Yes, big character, very enthusiastic, very easy to understand what he wants from everybody, and then that translates onto the field.
So obviously the step up into the Prem next year, what are your goals, your realistic goals for where University of Nottingham might end up at the end of next season?
Ideally, we'd like to win it, but we know that's not as easy as I've just said it. Playing a lot of teams that have been there for a long time, and very experienced, very tough. If we stay in the Premiership, great. If we finish mid-table, great. But we just want to win. That's all we want to do. Players want to win, coaches want to win.
And the season's all but done, but this is always a nice way to end it, the varsity rivalry. You guys currently 6-1 down in the series. Does that mean anything today?
No, not at all. We're not really bothered. We're just going to play today. We're going to enjoy football, enjoy the varsity game. We're going to represent the university to the best of our ability, and hopefully we get a win.
Well, thanks ever so much for your time, and hopefully we'll catch up with you after the game, but good luck with the game.
Thanks a lot. Right. Cheers, Matt.
And after Coach Brittle, we caught up with Coach Walkinshaw from the Renegades. Good afternoon, Coach. How's things?
Very good, Matt. How are you? Looking forward to the commentary.
I'm looking forward to commentating on you. Sum up the 2018 season for NTU.
It was another good season, but disappointing at the end of it because we didn't get through the quarterfinals, and all year UON, the team we played today, have been our nemesis. You know, they've beaten us 3 times in a row, which kind of sucks as a coach. You know, you want to get better, and I think we did progress, and we got better every time we played them. And the last game was tight, and I'm hoping for a great, a tight game today. But so it was a good, every year we make the playoffs and we made the playoffs again, but every year you want to go that little extra step further, and we just didn't do that this year for whatever reason. We didn't have what it took to beat these guys, and that's what we have to do next season, and that's what we have to try and do today.
You mentioned the last few seasons you've had the better of UON almost every year, varsity and in the league. What was the difference this year? Can you put a finger on it?
Well, they had a new head coach, they had a new culture. They came out very aggressively in that first game, and they really played very well. They had a couple of very good scholarship athletes that made the difference on the day, and they're a well-drilled side, and they always have been a well-drilled side, but they took it to that next level. They knew for 10 years or however long we've been playing them in the rivalry, that's what they needed to do, and this year it came good for them, and good for them. I mean, and that's why we have such a great rivalry over the years, because it goes back and forth in that way. And now we're in that place where we've got to step up again. So they're now going to go to the Premiership, and good luck to them. We'll see how they do in the Premiership, which we know is a very tough division because we played in Div 1 North, and we know how they did in the Premiership finals. So we'll see how we go, and we'll build from here as they've had to do, and it's kind of going back and forth, and that's what's great about playing football in Nottingham.
I know you yourself.
Just after the kick-off here for the 2018 University of Nottingham students against the Nottingham Trent University Renegades varsity American football match. I'm joined in the commentary booth by the ever-present George Lees. How's it going, George?
It's alright, thank you, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm alright. A little bit sleepy this afternoon?
Not sleepy at all.
No? Ready for this one?
I'm a little bit sleepy, Matt.
So I've been here since around about 4:15 this afternoon. I've been here since, I say, 4:15ish this afternoon, and the atmosphere has been building slowly. There's been a lacrosse game over to the left, over to the right rather, which was won by the NTU Renegades, by the way, as that first down pass falls incomplete, intended for Kieran Howes. And yeah, it's a nice venue for football, actually, isn't it?
It is a nice venue. Makes a change from last year's varsity game at Harvey Haddon. It seems to pick up the wind nicely here, though.
It does. Our last broadcast was from Hinckley in Leicester, and I couldn't move my knees for about 3 days after that. It was so cold, but we're at a little bit of a higher vantage point here, sat up in the commentary booth, and the wind does howl through. Anyway, Trent are on offense, 2nd and 10. Big rush from the outside by number 18, Jack Casey. The ball is thrown and it's overthrown. The intended receiver, unfortunately, don't appear to have a name for number 26. Oh, we do. Osho Sanye there was the intended receiver for the Trent Renegades. Again, speaking to Coach Messam and Coach Walkinshaw just prior to the game, you can see over on that NTU sideline it's a quite depleted bench this afternoon.
I'm a little surprised it is so depleted, to be honest. UON, I was expecting less players, with Tamworth having a European game and them having so many of the guys here playing for that squad as well.
So a quick 3 and out for the Renegades, and they will, in fact, it is 3rd down. My apologies. Cardenas back to pass on 3rd down, looks to his left, puts the ball up there, and that could be, and is picked for the first turnover of the afternoon, picked by Jonathan Gould for the University of Nottingham students, and they will pick up their first possession of the afternoon on midfield.
Cardenas, not their usual quarterback, actually a running back. But it's varsity, anything goes.
Last game of the season for these two clubs this afternoon. Both coaches mentioned that it's all about pride. Trent currently leading the American Football Series by a score of 6-1 over the last 7 games. Although the University of Nottingham students definitely on the ascendancy this year, having won both matchups and equally been promoted. And it's 1st down as Tunde runs after a fake jet sweep, picks up enough for a UON 1st down. Have a new scoreboard operator this afternoon.
This could be very interesting.
It'll definitely keep you quiet, I know that much.
You know the most technology I know is bale twine, yeah?
So 1st down UON. Inside Renegade territory. Tunde Pratt at quarterback. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Half back in the backfield, and Tunde keeps the ball again, runs up the middle and picks up more positive yardage. So as opposed to the Renegades coming out and passing, UON definitely keeping this one on the ground.
If it's working for them, why not keep grinding down?
Well, I think that's going to be the way this afternoon. I mean, conditions are good, not too much wind down at pitch level. And it brings up 2nd and 5 for the university students. Strange for us to be doing a Wednesday night game, George. Usually Saturdays and Sundays are what we're used to, but Wednesday night here in the centre of Nottingham. 2nd and 4 for the UON students. Oh, a high ball, but almost caught in by Tom Galliford, but incomplete as that ball sailed on Tunde. Looking for a little bubble screen there out to his left-hand side. So that'll bring up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, got to zip it in on those bubble screens. Can't allow it to float like that. It's a dangerous play for the receiver to be trying to take.
Mentioned about the setting. First time we've commentated this venue here, and from our position we can see the City ground in front of us with the Brian Clough stand over right in front, and then over to our left, the newly renovated Radcliffe Road stand at Trent Bridge, world-renowned cricket ground. You know, Meadow Lane's just over the Trent as well, so we're right in the sporting hub of Nottingham. As third down, Tunde rolls to his left. He looks, he steps back inside, he takes off, and he's still on his feet, and he has a seam on the outside. He's at the 20, he's at the 10, the 5, and goes in for the first score of the afternoon. Touchdown, University of Nottingham. And to me, that very much looked like lack of outside contain on the left side of the Trent defence, which led to Tunde managing to scuttle to his left, cut back to his right, take off and hit pay dirt. So 6-0 in very quick time for the men in green. 28-0 was Will Hobbs's prediction.
That's a very, well, looking at it out there, I think that's a generous prediction in the Renegades' favour.
With the way this thing started, maybe this so, but we'll see what Trent can get going on their next offensive possession after this PAT attempt. Our officials this afternoon, we have 8 officials this afternoon, unusual to have 8.
Not always usual to have 4.
No, but speaking to a couple of them before the game when the request was put out, a number of them knowing that it was this particular varsity game, knowing where it was, they were particularly interested in doing this one. So Mus Gibson, our referee for the afternoon, as James Revel lines up at quarterback, and we saw this formation in the Div 1 final, George, on PATs, where they line up the offensive line out to the left, trying to confuse the defence, looking like they're going for 2, then bring it back to that regular formation, and Joe Beams looks to kick the extra point, and the kick is up, and it is good. So a successful opening possession for the University of Nottingham, results in them taking an early 7-0 lead.
I'll tell you what, this technology thing's harder than it looks.
Well, when you're used to, when you're dealing with whatever twine you were talking about, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'll do the talking, you do the clicking. So this afternoon, if you're new to the sport and you're watching from home, from wherever you may be watching, we'll try and bring you up to speed a little bit with the intricacies of the game if we can. There's a decent crowd on the far side here, representing both universities. But the University of Nottingham look to kick off, the ball on their own 30-yard line. 2 returners back deep for the Renegades. It's a beautiful kick with the wind and sails over the head of that kick returner. Struggling to get a number there at the minute. It's number 26 again, so that is Oshasanya. And Trent will take over their second possession on their own 20-yard line.
Let's see what they can bring out this time. They have got a backup quarterback in Andy Horton, who's coming off an injury. Let's see if they keep Cardenas in that position for this drive.
It appears for now that Cardenas is in the huddle there. Not the best sort of stature for a quarterback.
He is a running back.
He does look like a running back. So maybe, and to say he has no men in the backfield with him, and he's got a big split set, and he puts that ball, he's looking to put it out to his left. Now he's in trouble, and he rolls, and he throws looking for his intended receiver. But that intended receiver, who is Anthony Vaness, ended up playing DB, keeping the UON defensive back away from a second turnover of the afternoon for the University of Nottingham students. That defense just looks bigger, doesn't it? They just, to a man, they just look like a sort of different outfit.
I think they typically have been a bigger team. I think in the past the Renegades have been the quicker team.
Sure.
You've got the likes of Gons and Anthony Vanessa, as you've just mentioned there. Speedy little slot receivers. Robbie Jones, of course. They've never been the biggest of teams.
This time Cardenas does have a man in the backfield, and that's going to be whistled dead because that was a false start by Number 15, Paul Watson in the backfield. Little twitch there before the snap was made. Unfortunately, can't hear our referee this afternoon as of yet. So that'll be 2nd and 15 for the Renegades. Not the most auspicious start, and I've got a feeling this could be a long night for the men in pink. Bring you a little bit of history about both squads during the evening as well. But as we are here, 2nd and 15. Cardenas in the backfield. 2 receivers either side for him. I think that offensive line's looking a bit porous, and that's gone way over the head of his intended receiver that time. Looks like actually Anthony Van Ness was thinking one pattern, and Cardenas threw it down the sideline. So not able to get anything going at this stage, and as I say, Coach Messam mentioned to me before the game that offensive line was down to its bare bones a little bit today as well.
Just looking through it now, Tom Harvey at centre, been there all year. But, do seem to be looking a little thin on that sideline for various positions.
So 3rd and 15, and as pessimistic as it sounds, this is a big ask for the Renegades at this stage, even at this early on in the game, and there's pressure coming again, and Cardenas is forced to roll, and he's hit almost immediately by Ripanti and taken down for another big loss, which will bring up 4th and a mile for the Renegades, and should land Derek Knott, who's coming back for the return, and the University of Nottingham students in pretty good field position. Indeed, Laquan Lambert and Derek Knott. That unmissable flow of locks coming out of the back of Knott's helmet. I always think that's not the best sort of uniform accessory for, because obviously it's legal to tackle by the hair.
I mean, I don't think either of us can comment on that.
We can't.
I mean,
we can't. And given the chance, then yes, maybe I would go for that look, but
I'm not sure a mullet would suit you.
No, I don't think it would.
There is no flag on the field.
Welcome to our official referee, Muzz Gibson. As I was saying, 8 officials for this afternoon's encounter. Referee Muzz Gibson, umpire Mark Wilson, head linesman Perry Wayman, line judge Mark Ward, back judge Ian Wainwright, side judge Jack Pearce, field judge James Statham, and the centre judge, which you don't often find in a game, as Knott makes a couple of men move, and he's up to the midfield, and he's knocked down on the 40-yard line of the Renegades, where they will take over. A nice athletic return by Knott.
Yeah, and he was a real key attribute for them in the final. He knows how to move.
So as I was saying, 8 officials and a centre judge, Paul Todd, this evening. Not often you have a centre judge, not often you have 8 officials, only ever 7 in the NFL. Speaking to the officials beforehand, the addition of that centre judge, he stands just with the referee, as you'll see on the screen there, and basically it allows 2 men the opportunity to watch all of the offensive line rather than switching to the side of the offensive line where the ball is headed and ignoring the opposite side. So, first down, UON, as Wellington T takes the ball to the left on a nice pitch, and there's a flag on the play once again. He does just about have enough for first down yardage, maybe a yard shy. Let's see where this one's coming. It would appear this one's coming back.
Holding. 84, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, still first down.
Indeed. That was called on Warren Davis, receiver, with the hold as Wellington T made his way round the left end. So it'll be first down again, and after the penalty is added on from the end of the run. So it'll be 1st and 9, 1st and 8 actually, which you don't often see. Lambert comes in motion. 2 men in the backfield. You'd think this ball was going to the left, the way they're stacked now to the left-hand side. And Tunde fakes the handoff. He looks to pass. Now he rolls to his right. He's got space out there, and that's a good open field tackle.
Yeah, it was a wonderful tackle there by the defensive back crashing down.
So 2nd and a loss on the play, but it's still 2nd and 9. Good crowd in, you can see over there on the bleachers. Still a few empty seats.
I have to say I went to the varsity ice hockey game between these two. The University of Nottingham took that one by two scores, but one was in the last 10 seconds as the Pretty in Pink chucked their goaltender out.
Good crowd there.
Full.
Absolutely full. The Motor Point Arena full. As Tunde rolls to his left, hard to throw to the left-hand side, and it proves that way as he misses Joe Beams on the sideline, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, I would suspect there was 8,000 people there.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Obviously both squads have brought their cheerleading contingent with them as well, and over to the right of that stand as we sit opposite, we can see the Trent Cheerleaders going through the motions. I'm sure we'll see them at some point this afternoon as well. Very different seasons this year for Trent and the University of Nottingham students. Trent did make the playoffs, but were knocked out in the 1st round, whereas UON went to the Div 1 final and were successfully promoted as Tunde completes that pass, but short of a 1st down. Pass completed to Finley Old, tight end, for a pickup of 8. That will bring up 4th down, but you'd expect the way that the University of Nottingham are moving the ball, they're not going to be punting at this stage. Can you imagine, if anything, Tunde taking off with this one?
Well, they have that very strong running formation where they just pack everyone on the line and drive straight up.
Not checks back into the game. Warren Davis to the left, Laquan Lambert to the right. As you mentioned, 2 men in the backfield, not slightly in front of Tunde. And the ball is, it looks like a QB keeper, and Tunde is patient. He looks like he's, and that's going to be, should be enough for a 1st down, and the official actually has spotted that ball over the 1st down yard marker.
Yeah, only just got that, just having to lurch forward. And we are talking inches by the looks of those markers.
Matt Stainton with the tackle, number 50. Had a chance to get in behind that 1st down yard marker, but unfortunately Tunde's strength saw him past. So 1st down UON. Twins either side for Tunde this time, and the ball is tipped down at the line of scrimmage by Stainton.
He doesn't look very comfortable on those underneath throws. Very much head down, arm down, and everything you're not really looking for in a quarterback though.
Obviously this is good game experience for Tunde, the starting quarterback this season for University of Nottingham, Pat Daly, obviously exceptional in the national final for the Tamworth Phoenix at the end of last summer, where they successfully defeated the London Blitz to become the national champions. Pat Daly not playing in this one, not least because he's again playing for the Tamworth Phoenix on Saturday in the European venture against the Karlstadt Crusaders, which we'll be covering it onside. As Tunde puts the ball out again, and Lambert with the reception, but met immediately by Lewis Hyde with another good open field tackle. I think they're trying to increase Tunde's confidence a little bit with these little swing passes, little bubble screens, but as you said earlier on, doesn't look overly comfortable with them.
And that has come out as a 1 yard loss.
3rd and 11. So the defense for the Renegades doing a little better this one. A very quick drive last time out for the University of Nottingham as they opened the scoring on a Tunde broken play really, where he looked to run left, cut back to the right, and had acres of space down into the end zone. And he looks to run again, this time left. Contain is there, but he manages to pick up positive yardage. He's met by 3 Renegades. First of which is number 32. Fortunately without a number for number 32 for that Renegades defence. And that will bring up 4th down again. 4th and 4 this time. As on comes Tom Harvey.
The Renegades typically have a very stout defence. It's uncharacteristic of them being scored on so quick as they were on that first drive. Even during their tenure as a Premiership team last year, the defence managed to hold true, and it was only really their offence that let the squad down.
Tom Harvey coming in to try and shore that defensive line-up as Knott takes the jet sweep round the right end. Well, it looks like that could be a hold in there. There's no flag though, and Knott does get enough for 1st down yardage. The referee's got his flag in his hand and drops it very nonchalantly at the end of the play.
Yeah, there was definitely a penalty there.
So that one will be coming back again. Very hard when you're trying to contain that edge as an offensive player, not to just get a sneaky arm up.
Holding, 22 offence, 10 yards. Repeat 4th down.
Alex Sowerby guilty on that occasion. But Trent did have that read pretty well, not on the jet sweep. Joe Beams checking in, taking Knott out of the game. So 4th and long now. 4th and 4 becomes 4th and 14 for the university students. And the Renegades will be hopeful. The fact that Tunde hasn't elected yet to go downfield too high, and you can see they've got 7 men in the box there, the Renegades defenders. Tunde does look to drop back this time, and he is going out wide, and that one's nowhere near his intended target as he's hit as he throws. Pressure from Tom Harvey and number 89, Ayo Adeniyi. So turnover on downs, which will buoy the Renegades.
Yeah, the defence will be very, very happy with that, and it gives their offence a decent field position.
Tell you what, George, at this point, looking at the 2 cheerleading squads.
Be careful what you say.
No, I'm just
as
looking.
Our director walks up the steps.
I can hear him coming up the ladders. But the cheerleading squads seem to have more members than either of these teams out here today.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And it was, I believe both these squads did the varsity ice hockey as well. So they...
How do they fare with that on the ice?
Well, they didn't do it on the ice.
Oh, okay.
They didn't do it on the ice. It might have been a bit slick.
So here we go again. Trent's 3rd possession of the afternoon. As the wind picks up and the cloud cover comes in here. 1st down, Cardenas still, and they hand the ball off this time. And there's a nice hole. And that's number 84, that's Gons, who picks up good positive yardage, and I think that is probably the way forward for this Trent offence this afternoon.
And that's that speed that we mentioned earlier. I know UON have Knott there in the backfield, who is a very, very solid back. Gons typically a receiver, but give him an inch and he'll make you a few yards.
So 2nd and a yard for the Renegades. Hopeful for Coach Messam, offensive coordinator, and I do believe running things this afternoon as Coach Giles is on his way back up from London, I believe, today. So very much Coach Messam at the reins this afternoon for this one. 2nd and a yard. Cardenas looks to pass again. He's got a man, and that man catches the ball. That's Anthony Vaness, and Vaness gets enough of 1st down yardage and inside the UON 30-yard line. Nice pickup.
Yeah, and he was absolutely wide open there on that out route.
Caught
it well.
I originally thought Cardenas had underthrown that ball, but a nice, it sounds a daft thing to say, but a nice low hands catch by Vaness.
Yeah, it was a great grab and a little tiptoe down the sideline for the extra yardage.
So 1st down, the first down of the afternoon for the Renegades, and it sees them in good UON territory. Let's see if they can capitalise and level things up. And the fact that their defence has been buoyed by that 4 and out, as it were, then hopefully good things may happen as Vaness swings the ball to the left. Number 15, Paul Watson, makes the grab, but that will be a loss of a yard.
Paul Watson just coming off his 1st year with the Renegades.
you'll see, particularly on the Renegades sideline, the numerous different helmets. The most notable are the yellow stripes down the centre of those helmets, indicating the Caesars players. We know Tom Harvey used to play for the junior Caesars and your team last year. Now made the step up to the senior Caesars this year. Cardenas as well. As we come to the end of the first period.
Very, very quick first.
So, at the end of this first period of varsity, the score is the University of Nottingham Students 7 and the Nottingham Trent University Renegades 0, but very much on the march. What have we got? 6:55, a 25-minute first period. That's maybe pretty average. I thought early on this one was going to be a little one-sided and Uniov might go a couple of scores up, but Trent have calmed that storm significantly, I think.
Yeah, the defence stepped up on that second drive. Got a great turnover on downs.
Yeah, so as I was saying before the end of that first quarter, you see the Caesars helmets in there, and Nottingham football, there are links all over the place. Links to the Caesars particularly, which is the Nottingham BAFA, the British American Football Association.
Big links to Tamworth, of course.
Absolutely.
Jason Scott being the head coach at both UON and Tamworth.
Oh, Cardenas rolls to his right and fumbles the football rolling to his right, and that's pounced upon. It appeared to come off his knee, and big number 73, Kouassi, drops on that ball for a gift.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was, but
well, initially that Trent halfback tripped, and Cardenas nearly tripped over him, then managed to get outside him, and it appeared the ball was in one hand, like he was still looking to throw it, and it came off his knee, and before you know it, Uniov are in business once again.
Got to carry that ball higher as a quarterback.
We've got Coach Brittle on the sideline for the University of Nottingham Students, who's now been coaching with the Uniov for 8 years. Current O-line coach, once a Caesar player and coach. Coach Giles, Coach Walkinshaw, Coach Messam, all ex-Caesars. Yourself and myself, ex-Caesars, up here in the commentary booth. Our cameraman Alex, our director Steve, all ex-Caesars, so it's very much a community feel. But as you said, Tamworth very strong here as well, represented particularly with the Nottingham squad, the University of Nottingham squad, with Jason Scott and
Pat Daly.
Pat Daly obviously as well on both squads.
William Hobbs.
Will Hobbs. I'm not overly sure who Will Hobbsing is rather. But anyway, yes, a certain young man, Will Hobbs, who's...
You've just had on camera.
Oh, that Will Hobbs, yes. As Tunde drops back to pass, he looks to his... Oh, and that's picked! And it's picked by number 22! And that is going in for 6! Opportunist by Josh Peck. The old tip drill comes to fruition, and just when you thought the Renegades bubble had been burst, they come within 1 point of the University of Nottingham Students. Great concentration from Peck on the pick. Would you call that a... Oh... Pick. Peck pick. Peck pick 6.
I'm just going to let you...
You just keep concentrating on your
wrong.
scoreboard.
I'm just going to go. I'm just going to walk out.
I'm having a moment.
Senior moment. I think cameraman wants to be involved now.
Oh, no, I think he wants to switch with you if you've had enough of me. But wow, what a turnaround of events. That's the beauty of this game. All the momentum was with the University of Nottingham in that first period, and when with that fumble from Cardenas. And all of a sudden, with that kick which is blocked, and that's fumbled again, it's still loose, and it's still loose, and it's finally dropped on by a green shirt. But with a score of 7-6, the Renegades are right back in it.
PAT is no good.
Just confirmation there from referee Gibson that our PAT was no good.
Have you had your moment?
Oh, I have, but...
Are we good to continue?
We'll give it a whirl.
Do we need to...
We'll give it a whirl. Anyway, I'm just wondering, as I mentioned about Alex and Steve, and obviously Onside Productions with Tom and Gary down here today, and yourself and myself. I know when we're not far away from Trent Bridge cricket ground, and during Notts games and test matches they have that 90-metre high camera. I'm wondering when Onside are going to be invested in one of those so we can get sort of aerial shots of the area and stick Alex up in one of those.
I'll stick you up in the forklift.
Yeah, have you got a forklift? How does that go 90 metres?
No, you'd be a bit higher than this, but sorry to disappoint.
I'm just
an optimist.
I am an optimist. But if I'm perfectly honest, things are going well. Steve and Tom are making great strides with Onside Productions. This season we're covering all the Leicester Falcons home games, all the Nottingham Caesars home games. We're obviously here at Varsity this afternoon. We covered the British Universities finals, Div 1 and Premiership finals. We are, as I mentioned, in Europe, Onside in Europe on Saturday this week and on the 9th of June for the two Tamworth Phoenix home games as the ball is kicked towards Nott, and unfortunately that one has sailed out of bounds just in front of the pylon.
Only just.
And that nevertheless will be a penalty against the Renegades and put the University of Nottingham students in good field position again. So yeah, really George, things going from
Illegal
strength.
procedure on the kicking team. The ball will be placed on the 30, first down.
From strength to strength for us here at Onside. And I know you're the same as me, we kind of love it. Even after a day at work.
Even after a day at work.
So 7-6 Renegades behind by a point. Little bits and bobs about the clubs we'll bring you as time goes on. As the Nottingham University students, or the University of Nottingham students rather, are on the ball. Begin talking about them. Formed in 1995. They were formerly the Nottingham Outlaws, formed by James Fisher and James Naylor. Tunde hands that ball off this time, and that's a good defensive stop, although Alex Sarby does keep his legs moving and manages to pick up positive yardage after he's met by a bunch of Renegades. Matt Renane, number 55, another one of our old boys. Loose, slow getting up. And you and I both agree, that's the nice thing about coaching at junior level, the fact that you go on to see these guys representing not only their senior teams but also universities, and the fact that we've had that sort of input and they're still playing and loving the game.
Yeah, and they're only going to keep developing, particularly under two solid coaching staffs, as both these universities have.
That's Ibe Igwe with the carry that time, bringing up 3rd and short for the University of Nottingham students. As I was saying, formed in 95 by James Fisher and James Naylor. Then they were combined at that point with the Trent University team. They were known as the Nottingham Outlaws. They played their first competitive season in 96-97 in the Northern Central Conference under founding head coach Justin Smith. In 2009, that's when the two outfits split and became the University of Nottingham Outlaws and the NTU Renegades. On 3rd and short, Tunde looks back to pass, and he's got his man this time. That's a nice grab by David Band, and Band has enough for the first down for the University of Nottingham students.
There still are a number of teams involved with both universities that play together. The biggest one being the Mavericks, the ice hockey team, and I think it's why the varsity is so big. It's the only time they get the chance to knock bells out of each other.
So, in that 2009 season, the combined totals from 96 to 2009, the combined Universities Outlaws were 54 wins, 49 losses with 1 tied, and 4 playoff runs, including reaching the national quarter-final in 2007 and 2008 under head coach Simon Dale. As Joe Beams gets the carry this time, and he gets close to another UON first down. Following the split, the Outlaws went 3-5 in their first solo season before joining the notorious Midlands Athletic Conference alongside the Birmingham Lions.
Time out. NTU, first time out.
As I was was saying, alongside the Birmingham Lions, the Loughborough Aces and the Derby Braves, all of who are still powerhouses to this day.
Yeah, very much so. Derby obviously making it all the way to the Bucks final to narrowly lose out.
So, in that powerhouse conference over the next 3 seasons, the Outlaws went 13 and 11 under head coaches Chris Davis and returning Justin Smith. Following the rebranding of sports teams at the university and the hiring of Phil Wood as the head coach, the Nottingham students returned to the playoffs in the final year before the league restructuring. And then last year, an undefeated regular season culminated in a Division 1 Northern semi-final where they narrowly lost out to Leeds Beckett, and obviously went one better this year, as you mentioned, beating the UWE Bullets and progressing on to the Prem for the 2019 season. Following Phil Wood's resignation, the club hired Tamworth Phoenix defensive coordinator Jason Scott, who is now the Tamworth Phoenix head coach as well. So, head coach of 2 outfits, as Tunde looks to pass, then looks to his left, pulls the ball down, takes off, gains the first down, and is shepherded out of bounds at the 30-yard line of the Renegades. And obviously we know that Jason has led the team to an undefeated regular season and promotion this year. And we'll go straight from this game back to the Tamworth Phoenix for their European encounter on Saturday against those Karlstadt Crusaders. It is interesting though, as much as the Tamworth Phoenix are an impressive outfit. Their first outing in Europe a couple of weeks back, I think it's fair to say, and I know Jason Smith, having spoken to him beforehand, he mentioned about the travel issues that they had, and the preparations weren't what he would have liked, but they had 50 points scored on them, which I can't remember ever seeing. That's a missed tackle there, as Ibe Igwe gets another UON first down. I say I can't remember 50 points being put on Tamworth in, well, ever, from my memory.
No, I think they got caught out. I think in the second half they, from what I've seen, settled into the game. I think being at home will definitely be a huge advantage to them. Will they beat the Crusaders, who are arguably the strongest team in the competition this year? I'm not so sure, but I'd like to think they give it a good go and bring it much closer.
I suppose the nice thing with all these things are first foray into Europe, and it's going to be tough, as Ibe Igwe gets the ball again. He's met by Tom Harvey and a number of other Renegades, and he's credited with a 1-yard pickup, but there is a flag on the play once again.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. 22 on the offence. 15 yards, still first down.
So, a face mask penalty against an offensive player. Lineman that time. I think it was called 52 on the offence. I can't...
22 on the offence.
My mistake. That's Alex Sarby, running back, rather than offensive lineman. Unusual for a running back to be called for a face mask penalty, particularly when he hasn't got the football in his arms, because Ibe Igwe was carrying the football that time. But anyway, 1st and 25. 1st and 25 for the University of Nottingham students. Tunde with 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Drops back to pass, looks immediately left and swings another ball out to the flats to his intended receiver Joe Beams, but just out of Beams' grasp, and that'll be 2nd and 25. And the Renegades will be hopeful that that defence will bend but not break once again. They look, even just by the look of this sideline, George, they look like a Premiership outfit.
They do, and speaking to various people around the league, they will be contenders from day one. They're well drilled, well coached, got some quality players. Obviously the big change will be at quarterback, but I think they'll make it work.
Not on the jet sweep to the left, and he's very elusive, spins and picks up 5 or 6 yards before he's met by Lewis Hyde, who puts in a good form tackle to bring up 2nd and still around 23 yards, 2nd and 22 maybe. 2nd and a long way, put it that way. But But yeah, so when I interviewed Coach Brittle, and if you were with us at the top of the show, Coach Brittle was under no illusion. I asked him what his aspirations were for the Prem, and he said, we want to win. We're going in there with aspirations to win the title.
Well, nobody goes in there to lose, do they?
You don't go in to lose, but obviously if you're thinking about the Premiership soccer, and I say soccer just because we're covering football now, a lot of teams' aspirations are just to stay up and maintain their status. As Tunde this time immediately rolls to his right, flag down again. And that's in the middle of 3 receivers that time from Tunde, but that's in the region of holding.
Offside. Oh. Defence, 58, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
So 58 is Nick Oldfield for the Renegades. Offside in this game means you jump over that neutral zone, and the neutral zone is the length of the football in its starting spot, and you are not allowed to be on the wrong side of that football before the ball is snapped. So, Renegades gifting the university students 5 yards, but still 3rd and a good 16 yards, 17 yards for Tunde in the offence. And there's a lot of space out here to Tunde's right, and this time he drops straight back. He's got time, keeps his eyes downfield. Good pressure coming, and there's a lot of pressure coming now. And there's another flag down, and this time that one does look like it's going to be in the region of holding. I'd be surprised if not. And there it is, the signal from referee Gibson. Interesting one here though, 3rd and 17. Do you give them 4th down, or do you march them back?
I would give them 4th.
Even with Tunde looking as...
I would give them 4th.
Yeah.
Holding. 72 on the offence. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
That's the same as your call. So yes, the only positive yardage so far for the University of Nottingham students has come on the runs from Ibe Igwe and Alex Sowerby, amongst others. Derek Knott, obviously, as well. The air attack has looked less threatening at this point, as actually the skies begin to look more and more threatening.
Timeout, Nottingham. That's their first timeout.
And Coach Smith will talk this one. Sorry, Coach Scott will talk this one over on 4th down.
Yeah, I mean, even with an offence like the University of Nottingham have, I think 15, 16, 17 yards for Trent is coverable. They've got a very good defence. They've held stout other than that first drive, really.
And that was largely due to them losing outside contain because it was a broken play, and Tunde just did well to reverse field and go from left to right, and the Renegades have over pursued by that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Coach Will Hobbs has found his calling. Will Hobbs, water boy. I always knew he was destined for great things. Well done, Will Hobbs. Water boy, found your calling. Well done. Show me that ring. So 4th and 17 after the penalty declined. Let's see if the Renegades can hold firm. Tunde with trips to the right this time. And he rolls to his right. And now he sets his feet and he lofts the ball over, and that's into no man's land. No flags, and another 4 and out for the University of Nottingham students. Now last time this happened, we thought the Renegades would be buoyed, and then Cardenas seemed to knee the ball into the arms of the UON students.
Now, number 72, Tom Harvey, has remained on the field, and this is where depth will come into play, playing both ways, defensive tackle and centre.
And to be fair to him, we know Tom Harvey does have the heart of a lion.
The fitness, not so much.
I was waiting for you to say that because you know him much better than I do.
Spends too much time in fast food establishments.
Many of which are available. We're not now covering Leicester games where we can talk about the chicken bet. But nevertheless, here we go then. Let's see if Trent can get this ball moving with Cardenas in the backfield at quarterback. 2 receivers either side. The ball's handed off again, and that's Gons again. And Gons has a nice step, and he's still on his feet, and he's at midfield. He's at the 40, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Gons on what I think is his retirement game.
Well, they say that every year.
I've seen big banners around social media.
Gons is gone.
But wow, what a run, and we can see on that replay, that same play that was effective in the first period, but he just steps and steps again, and that quickness that you mentioned, and arms flailing as he goes out of bounds.
He's a very, very electric player, and in defence of University of Nottingham, they kind of managed to get around him, but he managed to squeeze through.
But a nice hole opened up off that right side of the line though as well.
See if they can keep the momentum going.
So first down, Renegades inside University of Nottingham territory, 7-6. The Renegades find themselves a single point down. And Coach Messon will be buoyed as Cardenas this time has time, and he decides to take off, and he's got that ball in one hand. Nice hit. Number 32, William Smith, the DB, makes the tackle, but it's Cardenas that lowers the boom.
They've given him the first.
And they have indeed. So watch again, he looks initially to pass, but then decides, sees a gap, takes off, and he lowers the boom. And usually, for a regular quarterback, you'd be hoping they'd slide feet first in that situation.
Yeah, but he is not a regular quarterback. He is very much a brute force.
Running back. And you know, and that's what we want your running back to do. So it will be interesting to see who might step in to the quarterback duties if Cardenas was to go down. But again, like you say, he's used to that contact and shouldn't be an issue. So another first down, 2 consecutive first downs this time for the Renegades, and they look to be in a bit of business. As the wind picks up in our commentary position here at the Lady Bay Sports Ground, Cardenas again drops back to pass. He rolls this time he's in a bit of bother, and he puts the ball up, and that's a risky ball, and it's almost hauled in. I think it might have been caught.
There is a flag on the play. It looks like Paul Watson, maybe the recipient of the pass.
Let's wait for the official's call, but that was a fantastically athletic play, and I think you're right. I think that is number 20. It's Anthony Vaness who came up with the ball, actually. But let's see what the officials decide. It looks like, or what do you call a lot of zebras?
Pass interference, offence, number 80. That's a 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. Kieran Howes called for the pass interference penalty.
What do you call it?
It would surely be a herd.
I suppose it's a herd of Mustangs.
I would have thought.
I didn't know if it was a joke, or I thought you were setting us up.
A joke of zebras? No, it's definitely not a joke of zebras. I think I'd go with herd.
I thought you were setting it up like.
What do you call a load of zebras? No.
No, like what's black and white and red all over?
A zebra rolling down the hill? No.
An official that's just got the call wrong.
Hey! So, first down, and Trent find themselves very much in the situation that University did before, and the blitz is coming, and that's Cardenas puts the ball up, and he's got his man, but it's just underthrown as he threw off his back foot, but nevertheless, positive yardage. And that's Paul Watson with the reception. I don't know if you're able to get in touch with us, whether we have any social media up and running this afternoon. Here we do. Get involved with the show. Hashtag #NotsVarsity. We always like to see who's watching, where you're watching from, who you're supporting. Are you a follower of the men in green or the pretty in pink? Hashtag #NotsVarsity. Also, let us know if you know that lots of zebras is something other than a joke of zebras.
A herd. It's not a joke.
Or a herd of zebras. As that's going to be a false start, and that could well be on Gons, who seem to move a little early.
Before the play began, false start, 84 on the offence, 5 yards. Still 2.
It was indeed Gons, and Watson's 5-yard pickup is negated by Gons's little wobble in the backfield. So yes, please get in touch. Even just to let us know that you are watching. Are you watching from within the city limits? Are you a Nottinghamonian who's watching from somewhere else around the country? Are you an ex-Trent or University of Nottingham alumni? currently on your travels around the world, making your millions, get in touch. 2nd and a mile for Cardenas. Blitz coming off the edge, and he pops the ball over. Great awareness. Lovely awareness. Stood in the pocket, and that is Gons who makes the reception. I'm impressed with Cardenas there. Didn't panic. Saw the rushers coming off the edge and managed to drop that ball into, was it Gons? I think it was number 84. Positive yardage again.
Yeah, managed to stay calm under pressure, as you say. Found the man.
That's a 2-minute warning, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
And at 7:20 here on a dull Wednesday evening compared to the glorious weather we have had over the bank holiday, we find ourselves at the 2-minute warning.
I might get into a fine establishment for dinner.
7-6 currently the University of Nottingham students lead this one. With the Renegades driving. And to be fair, Cardenas as a standing quarterback, I've been mildly impressed. Other than the little error off his knee, he's got a nice action, and almost intercepted. I was about to say he's got a nice action as that ball comes out. He sets his feet well. That one seemed to be relatively on target.
It's actually a great pass breakup by University of Nottingham's defensive back there.
That's William Smith, number 32, who read that and broke on the ball really well. And actually, you may argue that the intended receiver there was sort of waiting for the ball rather than coming back to it for his quarterback. So 4th and 15 inside the 2-minute warning.
Looks like they're going to go for it with Cardenas coming back out on the field.
And I think this is the type of game where it's sort of all or nothing, where that's exactly what you do. But I think a timeout will be called at this stage.
Timeout, NTU, that's their second.
So during this timeout, NTU Renegades, we obviously know how they were formed in the split from the University of Nottingham students. Currently, as we know, 6-1 in varsity. This year being a bit of a down year for them as an outfit. Highlights of the club, as we're led to believe. Growing as a team each year, getting more and more English players into big European leagues. So this year, 5 of the NUT players out in European leagues. There's Akeem out in Finland, Natal out in Sweden, Jack Rice out in the GFL 1, that's the German league. Anthony, I assume that's Anthony Vaness. No?
Could well be Anthony Black.
Anthony Black, apologies. Also in GFL 1, and Lanra out in GFL 2.
What is this love for Will Hobbs? Will Hobbs looking super cute.
Official right. Official right. Is that Zoe? Is that Mrs. Hobbs?
No offence to Will, of course. That sounded a little bit slanderous, but.
Well, we know you've got a little bit of jealousy there between
little bit of jealousy.
Will Hobbs and my relationship, and just don't let Zoe know. But if that is you, Zoe, just give us another tweet and a thumbs up. He did make a point of being on screen with his championship ring from the Calander Broncos out in Switzerland this year. As Cardenas rolls to his right again, it's 4th down, he's in trouble, he's put that ball up again, and this is picked! And it's picked by number 10, Pierce Rapanti, and Rapanti's still on his feet, and he could go all the way! He's still on his feet, but brought down at the 20-yard line. Great hustle back by Sean Hendricks to stop a late go-ahead score, but what an athletic play by Rapanti.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Cardenas or these plays are designed to be dropped back and rolling out to the right every time, but every time he does, he gets under severe pressure, and that time it's not worked out for him.
Makes 1 man miss, 2 men miss, and I thought he was going to hurdle that last man.
You know, I thought he stayed on his feet quite well there.
I thought he stayed on his feet enough to earn a graphic. But down that sideline, and the nice thing
Illegal substitution on the defence, that's a 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
The hustle of the other men in green to get round and create a wall there for Rapanti. Currently getting congratulated by his fellow NTU comrades. So, can the University of Nottingham students go in for a late score to really put the kibosh on what has been a decent second period for the Trent Renegades? Terrell Cornelius with the carry.
Bring up first and goal. About 5 yards to go.
Cornelius comes off the field and makes way for Israel Bolarinwa. Two receivers to the left, one really wide right for Tunde, and Tunde again hands it. Oh, no, he doesn't. He fakes. It's a read option, and Tunde goes into the end zone for the second score of the afternoon, and his second score of the afternoon for the University of Nottingham students. Nice read option there. Put the ball in to his running back, saw that the D-end had committed a little bit, pulled it back out, and takes himself in for his second and the University of Nottingham students' second score of the afternoon. So, here's another odd formation for that PAT, which is then reverted to. They get back into the familiar PAT extra point, and the kick is up, and it's off wide right, but there is a flag again, and that could be retrying the attempt.
Offside on the defence. That penalty will be declined. The point is good.
Okay, so it was offside by the defence. No need to replay that one then.
They have actually given them the extra point.
Interesting, because that extra point wasn't good.
Again. Yeah. Yeah.
He's now, unfortunately, our ref has turned his mic off. And now he's turned it on again.
Seems to be some confusion, but it looks like they're going out for a reattempt.
Apologies if you can hear anything that's going on the field. There we go. So a little bit of confusion with the substitutions on the Trent sideline as well. As Coach Walkinshaw waves back on number 26, Osho Sanya.
And it looks like the University of Nottingham are going for two.
With Rapanti in the backfield. A big rhino formation. Rapanti is fumbled, and that little trick doesn't work. So the score will remain at the University of Nottingham students 13 and the Nottingham Trent University Renegades 6 here at Lady Bay Sports Ground in the heart of Nottinghamshire Sportland. The shadow of the Brian Clough stand, the shadow of the glorious Trent Bridge Cricket Ground. See Green's Windmill over to the right, Nottingham Castle off to 1 o'clock.
Is the county and Meadow Lane County Ground not just behind that tree line as well?
Notts County Meadow Lane is somewhere midway between the Brian Clough stand and the castle.
You know, Nottingham was officially known the home of English sport.
I did know that, yeah, I did, and it's an interesting one that, because we don't have a Premiership football team.
We don't
have a Premiership rugby team.
It's all about Mansfield Town anyway.
Notts, obviously, from a cricketing perspective, are always perennially competitive and current 2020
got swimmers
champions.
Though. Good at swimming.
Swimming, yeah. Adam Peaty. Well, Adam Peaty actually is Derby based.
Rebecca Adlington.
Derby and Loughborough based. Adam Peaty. Yeah, Rebecca Adlington. That's a while back now, George, showing your age. Anyway, as Joe Beams kicks off, and that one could be taking Gons chooses to field it, and Gons has got a little bit of room. Cuts back, gets out to the 15-yard line, and there is another flag and 2 flags. And yeah,
that official has just thrown that flag 30 yards downfield on target. I mean, that is some good going.
Well, he did tell us, that official, that before the game he could bench 220 pounds. He's the who's the official in the NFL who's renowned for his guns, who's actually just retiring this year. On the tip of my tongue. Tweet in if you can tell us. renowned official in the NFL who keeps himself so fit. It's argued he could still play a few snaps.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 74. Also dead ball foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 79. That's a half distance penalty as well.
So those penalties appear both to be on the Renegades. Of course, this is the culmination of the season for both these guys, and I said earlier on that Trent were leading the series 6-1. And I've been informed by the ever-reliable Dave Tidswell. Good evening, Dave. Ed Hockley is the man with the guns. The official with the guns in the NFL, Ed Hockley. Thank you, Dave. Yes, as I was saying, Trent, I mentioned, was 6-1 up in this American football series. They're actually 7-1 ahead. Dave Tidswell heavily involved with the sport as a photographer. Gons once again up the middle, and Gons again is on his feet. He's up to midfield, and he breathes life into the Renegades once again. Wow. So maybe there is a chance for these Renegades to get back on the scoreboard before the half-time whistle.
The clock will be ticking. Gone past the 2-minute warning a little while ago.
You know what the formula is now, surely. Give it to Gons. So, first down Renegades, taking a while to get out of the huddle. Maybe scripting the play while they're in the huddle. Saw Cardenas get a little whiteboard out of his pocket. Sandy M. Davis, Notts Varsity, Tamworth fans watching from East London, go University of Nottingham. As Gons once again, he acts as a blocker that time. That time Cardenas takes off himself, picks up 4 yards. Good to know you're watching from East London. Rooting for the University of Nottingham students. That looks to be the half, which is signalled from our near side judge. And indeed, Tom Harvey gets a similar piece of information, walks off the field, and indeed, that is half time here at the Lady Bay Sports Ground in Nottingham at the 2018 Varsity American Football fixture, where the Nottingham University of Nottingham students lead the Nottingham Trent Renegades by a score of 13-6. We'll take a short break and we'll join you for second half action.
Varsity is a platform for the celebration
of student sport within Nottingham.
And I am proud to represent
my team,
University
and City
in this historic competition.
In the name of all the competitors and spectators,
I pledge to uphold the true spirit of sportsmanship,
to respect our opponents
and the facilities
and communities
in which the competition takes place.
We will respect everyone,
regardless of our differences.
We'll give everything for our teammates.
abiding by the rules.
which govern our sports and the series overall.
We win together.
We lose together.
For the glory of sport.
May the best team win.
And welcome back here to Lady Bay Sports Ground in Nottingham, where we are at the half of the University of Nottingham versus the Nottingham Trent University Renegades varsity American football match for the 2018 season. Currently, the University of Nottingham students are leading this year's varsity series. I believe it's 7-6 or 7-5, I think it might be at the moment, or 7. No, I've got this wrapped around my head completely. The lacrosse Trent won earlier on, and I think that made it 7-4. So this win here, if Trent can come from behind, will take the score to 7-5. We spoke to begin with to Will Hobbs and James Ramsey, and apparently each university is looking for that magic number of 12 to win the series outright. So let's see what this second half brings us. The University of Nottingham students will be on offence to start the second half. Number 50, Matt Stainton, kicks off, and it's a high kick fielded by Knott. And Knott, who's proved to be an elusive runner, finds a lane, and he gets up to the 25, up to the 30, steps out of one tackle. He's still on his feet at the 35, up to the 40, past midfield, up to the 50, and he's out of bounds at the Trent 30-yard line. Make that the 28-yard line, where the University of Nottingham will start their first possession of the second period.
Yeah, and that is a wonderful piece of elusiveness and athleticism there as well.
Electric start to that second half. What did you make of the first half, George?
What did I think? What did I make of it? Quick.
It did, very quick.
I think both teams moved the ball. Both teams made mistakes. I think it's a little closer than we were expecting. Having said that, a lot of the University of Nottingham scholars aren't here. A lot of their talented players aren't here. The Renegades are also in the same boat, obviously losing Jack Rice, Anthony Black, Natal. So, yeah, I don't think it's quite what we were expecting, but I think it's been better than what we were.
Could have been all the closer as well, had quarterback Cardenas for the Renegades not thrown that pick to Ripanti late in the half, who returned it back deep into Renegade territory to allow quarterback Tunde Pratt to run in for his second score of the afternoon. We could be looking at a 7-6 scoreline instead of that 13-6 score that we currently have.
I can smell that burger. Not a 50 burger, just the burgers in the air.
Does smell good. So we have our own version of Wednesday Night Lights, as the floodlights are now illuminated.
It doesn't quite have the same ring to it,
doesn't.
Though, does
it doesn't, no. But nevertheless, a floodlit game, always fun under lights. We have a modest crowd on the two stands on the far side from where we're located, as Lambert comes in motion. Tunde Pratt drops back to pass. He was passing at half-time, and he floats that ball out to the sideline, looking for Lambert, but that ball sails out of bounds. Indeed, we were watching Tunde Pratt warm up at half-time, and nice quick feet.
A little slow on the release.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's an area for development.
A little high on the release as well. I think he needs to drop that elbow a tad.
So, 2nd and 10, University of Nottingham inside Trent territory for their first possession of the second half here in Lady Bay, the Lady Bay region of Nottingham, in the shadows of the City Ground, Trent Bridge Cricket Club, as this time Lambert gets the ball on that jet sweep and goes around the right end and picks up a first down and more. And he's still on his feet, and he's dragged down just inside the 5, and a good tackle in the end, a bit of a shoelace tackle by Joe Wood. Scoots round that right end, cuts inside, makes 1 man, 2 men, 3 men miss, and there's a vicious block in there as well, actually. And then Joe Wood manages to bring him down, but not until he's got first and goal inside the Renegades' 5-yard line.
Carries that ball very loose.
He does indeed. Sorry to interrupt. Knott gets a swing pass, and Knott goes in for the 3rd University of Nottingham score of the afternoon to take the score to 19-6 in favour of the University of Nottingham students.
Excuse me. That's very similar to the first drive of the first quarter.
I think we've just got slightly the wrong caption there on screen. It is a touchdown to the University of Nottingham rather than Nottingham Trent. But nevertheless, touchdown it is. And I think that caught the Renegade defence off guard a little. It was a very quick, got to the line of scrimmage quick.
Got to the line of scrimmage quick, little quick pass out to the flat again, get the ball in the hand of your playmaker, and he does the rest. And here's that strange formation again, just to keep the defense on the toes, no intention of actually running that. And now Joe Beams steps back to attempt that extra point. It's up, and it is good as it lands on the roof of the bar to take the score in the 2018 Varsity. NTU 6, UON 20.
So, Renegades will be disappointed with that start to the third quarter.
Indeed they will, and is that the nail in the coffin which puts it maybe too much out of reach for the Renegades?
Well, we know that they can move the ball on this team. I know they've their only score so far has actually been on a pick 6. But
they've been effective with guns, and Cardenas has found a couple of nice passes through the air, and he's proved effectiveness on the ground a little as well. But I think they do need to get that next score to keep it close. So, as the University of Nottingham and Joe Beams look to kick it away, we have Cardenas, who's playing quarterback. Now he's playing kick returner. He took off and ran with the ball and turned into a hybrid running back as well. And it's a little onside kick, and that hasn't gone 10 yards. So
that will be a flag.
Cheeky and also quite vicious, considering the scoreline. Ruthless, some would say, that the University of Nottingham students were looking to get that ball immediately back. I didn't expect it, and I'm sure that the Renegades didn't expect it, but Joe Beams...
I expected it, though.
There is no flag on the play, no flag.
No, it's varsity, and both teams, and I seem to recall the Renegades giving the ball to David Isignon at the end of last year, the big, very big, powerful linebacker to run up the score.
We showed...
so I don't think it's a no holds
barred. We showed the highlights package of the last year's varsity at the beginning of the game. We saw Big David running in there, barreling in for his score, yep. So, like you say, no holds barred, anything goes, pull everything out of the bag. It's the last time you're taking the field for this academic year, so why not?
For some of these guys, the last time they'll take the field for universities.
Absolutely. But it puts the Renegades in good field position, and guess who gets the ball up the middle again? Slightly off tackle. It's Gons, but he's corralled after a pickup of 2.
Cardenas did very well to handle that snap. It came at him very low.
So 2nd and 8 now will be upcoming. Renegades have an opportunity inside UON territory. See if they can capitalise on it. Their first job is to pick up those 8 yards for another first down.
Just got to find a way to move this this chain. That big man, number 90, Akolo there, looking for some blood.
Interesting about the Renegades. The team was actually founded by one of their all-time greats, whose jersey has been retired, Chris King, after he took a bank loan out. As Gons gets the ball again, he doesn't actually. Gons looked like he wanted to take the ball, and Cardenas kept it in there. So yes, Chris King took a bank loan out to himself, to fund the startup of the Renegades. And the rest, as they say, is history.
It's a brave man to do that. Plenty of faith in the university.
Absolutely. Standout players to look for. Gons is a name that's there. Anthony Vaness is a name that's there. We've mentioned him already. Matt Stainton we've mentioned. Josh Peck, who actually has his only score of the afternoon. Lewis Hyde on defense as well. Alex Cardenas and Robbie Jones. But Robbie Jones not out here this afternoon.
He is on the sideline, but he's struggling injury-wise. This is his last game for the Renegades as well, as he graduates this year too.
And unfortunately, it looks to be a false start there on tight end, number 88. 89,
Before the play began, false start, 89 offence. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still third.
That's Io Adeniyi. So that won't help the Renegades' cause, bringing up 3rd and 15 now. Morgan CX, UN number 27's girlfriend, watching from Glasgow. Nice to know you're watching and supporting your boyfriend, number 27.
Ellis Holgate.
Ellis Holgate, shout out from your girlfriend from all the way up in Glasgow. She loves you.
3rd and 15. Cardenas gets the ball, puts the ball over the middle, and that should be, and it is almost intercepted. Will Field, playing centre field, went up with one hand and took the ball away from Andre Tavs. A hopeful pass, really, and it was falling into Tavs' grasp, and Will Field wasn't to know that. Went up for an athletic pick, and in the end it falls harmlessly to the ground. Now we could be in for some fireworks again.
Just going back to that tweet, I hope they have actually dropped the L word into their relationship, and you've not just announced that to the world. But that was a wonderfully athletic play.
Sophie Stainton, shout out to Hickey Stainton in his retirement game. Hashtag baby stains. Now I know a little bit about that. Do you know about Matt Stainton and the nickname Hickey? Are you aware of this story?
Do we want to release this?
Well, speaking to Coach Giles earlier in the week, he was happy for it to go ahead. Nickname Hickey because on one night out in his university career, he apparently set some sort of record for gaining many of the aforementioned, what shall we say, marks about his person, and hence the nickname has stuck ever since. So yes, Matt Stainton with his final game for the Renegades as well. So a number of retiring players due to graduation, as Tunde gets the ball on 1st down, hands it off. That's a nice run again up the middle on that read option. This time he does elect to give the ball to Falabi Ajayi. And Ajayi picks up enough for a University of Nottingham 1st down. And they're back in business once again. Just good, powerful running from Ajayi. 3rd quarter action here from the Lady Bay Sports Ground here, just outside West Bridgeford in Nottingham. As this time, Wellington T is the ball carrier. And Wellington picks up 5 yards. Always good if you can pick 4 or 5 yards up on 1st down, opens your playbook up a little bit. Tunde Pratt again in at quarterback. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to the left. Halfback on his right-hand side in the backfield, and it is Wellington T who gets the ball again. A flag comes out from this near side official, and he's taken down in the backfield for a loss. That could be encroachment, could be a little hold. It's looking like it's going to be encroachment against the defense. Encroachment is basically offside. And once again, we mentioned earlier in the game, offside is where you jump on to the wrong side of the ball prior.
Offside, defence 5 yards, previous spot, still 3rd down.
Prior to the snap, and that's indeed what it is. So that will march the University of Nottingham students forward a further 5 yards, and bring up 3rd and 3. So yeah, if you are new to the game and just watching the sport due to the fact you're supporting one of the 2 universities rather than have a real interest in the sport, it's quite a simple game. We'll try and talk a little bit about it now as number 14, Tom Galliford, comes in motion for the University of. So, Tunde Pratt drops back, he releases that ball, and number 82, Finley Old.
Got to catch that with 2 hands.
Intended receiver. So yeah, basic principle of the game. You'll see on your camera as Old again reaches out for that ball one-handed and fails to drag it in. On your camera you'll see with our wide shot there are 2 orange markers on the far side of the field. There they are. The aim of the game is basically to move the ball 10 yards, which is the distance between those orange markers, and you have 4 opportunities to do so. If you fail to move the ball 10 yards in those 4 opportunities, as Tund hands the ball off, this time weaving his way through the centre of that Trent defence, is Alex Sowerby. So as I was saying, if you fail to make those 10 yards in those 4 attempts, then the other team takes possession of the ball where that last attempt ended. Sowerby with a nice jinking run there through the middle. Obviously you can choose to move the ball by either handing the ball off to a running back, or one of the guys who stand alongside the quarterback, or by throwing the ball down the field to one of your receivers, who are the guys who stand out wide. The big guys up in the middle are known as the offensive linemen, and their prime job
is to either open up gaps for the running backs to run through, or to protect the quarterback, who in this case is number 4, Tunde Pratt, to give him time to throw the ball downfield. And that process continues as Tunde flips the ball out to Ibe Igwe. That process continues until either you score by getting the ball into the end zone, or you run out of opportunities to gain that required yardage. That kind of sum up the offence relatively well, George?
I mean, it wasn't bad.
That's the highest praise I will get from you, so I will take that. So here we go. So that was 1st and 10, and you saw Ibe Igwe only managed to gain a yard, which now brings up 2nd and 9. And Ibe Igwe gets the ball again. It appears that he's picked up a further 3 yards, so from 2nd and 9, that will now be 3rd and 6. So their 3rd attempt, and they still require 6 yards in order to move the chains being the orange markers. This is Football 101.
It's like being back at school. I mean, I think you're doing a wonderful job.
You had some good experiences at school, George, I know. In fact, looking at where they've marked the ball, it was a pickup of 2, so it's 3rd and 7. So they'd require 7 yards on this 3rd opportunity in order to gain another 4 opportunities to move the ball a further 10 yards down the field. So, Tunde Pratt this time. 1 receiver either side. He has 2 running backs who look like they're going to be blocking backs as he takes off to the right and he looks for space. 1 man misses a tackle and 2 men do manage to push him out just before that orange marker.
He did a great job there moving upfield. It put them in a 4th down situation with about 2 yards to go.
And again, based on the way this game is going and based on the scoreline being 20-6 in favour of the University of Nottingham, you would assume that rather than, and this is an opportunity if you do become wedged on 4th down, rather than kicking the ball away to put the other team in bad field position, which we haven't seen actually, we've seen it once today from Trent, you can elect to go for it, and if failure, and they're actually trying to get the Trent team to jump offsides, knowing that they've had 2 offside penalties already in this game. This call comes in from the sideline and Tunde drops back to pass. He looks and now he's got room and he could run for it if he wants to, although there is a man coming and that man misses. And he should have enough to pick up the 1st down, and does. So by running on 4th down and picking up more than those 2 yards required, they move the chains and have another shot at 4 more opportunities to move the ball.
If they keep moving the ball like this, this half is going to be even quicker than the first. I think it just keeps grinding down the clock as they keep running the ball.
And as much as you're right, as much as the University of Nottingham want to put more scores on the board, I think yeah, that probably is obviously a strategy as well, to take time away from the Renegades. A quick score is great and will increase the distance between the 2 sides, but equally it will leave time on the clock for the Renegades to strike back.
Timeout, NTU. First timeout.
So NTU do take their first timeout of the half. So we asked for interesting facts about the clubs. University of Nottingham defensive back James Ramsey, number 2, is the current club president and a member of the reigning Brit Bowl champions, the Tamworth Phoenix, as we mentioned earlier. But he did, interestingly, start his career at NTU. Coach Giles has arrived. Coach Giles there on screen, head coach of the NTU Renegades. Very much Coach Giles, Coach Walkinshaw and Coach Messam as head coach, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator have been primarily responsible for the success of the Renegades over the last few seasons, along with the help of many coaches who go way back in terms of friendships and football experience as well. It's good to see Coach Giles on the sideline. So, back to play after the timeout by the Renegades. First down and 10. Their first attempt to make 10 yards. A big, heavy formation this time again. From where you're standing, you'd expect to see, and indeed, Tom Galliford comes in motion again to add extra weight to that left short side of the field. And does that mean, and it's a direct snap and it's a reverse, and this is like the Philly special that the Eagles ran in the Super Bowl, and it works, but not quite for the same result that the Eagles had.
but David Band, number 87, hauls the ball in for about a 4-yard pickup.
Yeah, it was a great play.
The timing needed to get something like that to work properly is not as simple as it looks when it's down there on the field.
Trying to pass on the move as well. This is always going to be a challenge.
And from a player who's not necessarily used to passing all that much. So 2nd and 4 after a pickup of 6 yards. As the floodlights begin to take effect and the shadows grow longer over what is a lovely facility to play any sport in, as Terrell Cornelius takes the ball up and gets another University of Nottingham first down. Just a simple counter play that time. Cornelius starts off to his left, then steps back to his right, follows the pulling offensive lineman, and
yeah, and a nice hole made by that pulling guard.
Picks up 6 yards, in fact 8 yards, and a University of Nottingham first down. And you'll see now that the markers have been dropped. That's because they are actually on the 10-yard line, so they don't need to get any more than 10 yards in order to score. So instead of 1st and 10 now, it's known as 1st and goal. First chance to put the ball in the end zone or get the ball over the goal line, which is the all-important line need to cross to score a touchdown. Galliford comes in motion to the right. Ball is handed off, and it's handed off this time on a nice little sweep play to the left. And that's another touchdown for, although maybe not.
Looks like they're actually calling him up short.
They are. His knee looks like it went down on the 1-yard line. That was Israel Bolarinwa. And he's expressing his displeasure, claiming he got in, hands out. That touchdown would have been taken away from him.
No, I think they are judging it, and UON, I think they've scored, but they are short.
They are indeed. No officials from the signals from the official, rather.
Oh, they've gone for that power set.
Look who's in the backfield. It's Rapanti in the backfield with Elijah Duran. So a linebacker and a tight end in the backfield.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter.
So once again, another quick 3rd quarter. 25-minute quarter, but that, like you said earlier, George, is down to the fact that the University of Nottingham ran the ball so frequently. So 1 score in this 3rd period puts the score at the end of the 3rd quarter in the 2018 varsity matchup. NTU 6 and the University of Nottingham 20. Is there any way back for these Renegades in this 4th period, George?
Well, they're only 2 scores down, and as we know in this game, anything can happen.
Only 2 scores down, but defending their own goal line with the ball on the 1.
Have faith, be positive.
So our next outing, as you may have mentioned, as heard us mention earlier, is this Saturday. Saturday the 12th of May. We will be out in Tamworth as the reigning Brit Bowl and UK champion, Tamworth Phoenix, play against the visiting Karlstad Crusaders from Sweden in what promises to be a, well, I think quite a fiery encounter. I think Tamworth will have learned a lot from that first outing as they travelled out across the channel.
Yeah, they're at home as well. I know they've done a lot of promoting work to try and build up a crowd as well. So they'll be looking to have that behind them.
And it's nice. It's the first time for a long time that European football has been outside of the capital, outside of London. So it's nice that the Midlands, and particularly the West Midlands, have got an experience of what the continent can offer from an American football point of view. And like you said earlier, the Karlstad Crusaders, one of the top teams in that particular conference this year, and that particular competition. Should be good to watch. Good for us as well, on-side productions, to see that sort of quality. So here's that big formation, and Rapanti. Oh! Rapanti fakes the run and then does the jump shot over the whole defense and hits defensive lineman Troy Glenn
Who lives the lineman's dream and catches a score? That was very well executed.
It was very well executed. Glenn catching that nicely as well. Can't fault that play at all.
And I think that could well be the game at 26-6 down. 20 points seems a little too much to ask for them to find an answer to, with probably less than 20 minutes play real time left in the game. Would like to have had a little look at a replay on that, but never mind. I think it caught everybody off guard a little bit. I was expecting Rupanti to power it up behind his big guards, and I believe we may have a replay coming. Let's see this extra point first. Oh, there it is. Rupanti does very well because he heads towards the line of scrimmage, and then just before he gets there, he pops the ball over the top with a little jump shot pass, and Troy Glenn is wide open, all on his own for the score. Extra point was good. So the score is now 27-6 in favour of the University of Nottingham.
3 scores down. Clock will be ticking.
The reverse fixture last year was 25-12 to the Renegades. If the Renegades can put one more score on the board, it will almost be a complete reversal of fortunes. And actually that pretty much sums up the team's seasons as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This would be the 4th win for the University of Nottingham. So they've just got to find a way to get this offense going.
Hard now as well because it's such a small squad on those sidelines, on the far side from where we're sitting. Heads are down. Obviously it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but from a pride point of view, as Joe Beams kicks off, and he kicks straight out of bounds. And one of the NTU assistants,
looks like Natal Malero.
Is that Natal? Thinks he's kitted up and almost tried to take that one back. So, penalty against the University of Nottingham does put Trent in good field position, gives them an opportunity.
Would be nice to see the Renegades get another score.
Illegal procedure against the kicking team. 5 yards added to where the ball went out of play. First down.
So first down. Nottingham Trent, as the markers are moved. It'll be first down on their own 38-yard line. Close to midfield. We're playing on a 90-yard field, as is generally the norm in the UK. Very few 100-yard playing fields around, as Cardenas drops back to pass and he floats that one over the head of Gons and ends up on the floor, and that may well be a roughing the passer call.
Yeah, and he was looking for his running back out of the backfield there.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 18 defence, 15 yards, automatic first down.
So indeed, even though the pass was incomplete, that penalty has given them the 10 yards and 5 more for a personal foul penalty. Number of different penalties and distances of penalties depending on the foul in this game. The more unsportsmanlike fouls bring the highest punishment, 15 yards. The offside varieties, or the false starts where you move before the ball is snapped, only a 5-yard variety. Holding, where you grab onto another player's jersey or arm to impede him from getting to the ball carrier, or one way or another, is a 10-yard penalty. And there are a variety of others, but that pretty much covers the basics. So, first down Renegades. 2 receivers to the left for Cardenas. He looks back to pass and he pops the ball out, and that's a low ball intended
for Paul Watson there.
Intended for Watson. So second down. Second down Renegades. They've really got to capitalise on this opportunity now they've got it.
2nd and 10. Cardenas trips to the left this time. Slightly different formation to what we've seen. The ball's handed off to Gons. Gons makes one tackle miss. And then he's met initially by Jordan Stack before a bunch of his green compatriots finish the job and take Gons down after a pickup of 3.
Yeah, and University of Nottingham have really found a way to shut Gons down in this second half. And he was really the key member of the offense for the Renegades, moving the ball several times up and down the field in that first half.
So if you are enjoying what you're seeing this afternoon, this evening, whether you're a university follower of one of these two teams or whether you're actually enjoying the sport, there are a number of, well, they're known as community teams, but it's really, obviously they're just the British club sides, a number of teams in the area who are currently battling it out in the BAFA National Leagues. Cardenas drops back to pass. Oh, that should be a hold. That's got to be a hold there, but nothing's called. And he's got his man! And his man inside the 5-yard line is number 80, Kieran Howes. But there is a flag. There's 2 flags, and it has to be a hold. I mean, it almost looked like one of the offensive linemen was literally dragging his counterpart to the ground. Again, I don't know whether or not we'll be able to see that again, but I'd be surprised if this wasn't a holding call and this one wasn't coming back, which is a real shame, not only for the Renegades, but for the game.
Perhaps he was practicing for the wrestling team.
It did look that way, didn't it? It did look a bit Greco-Roman, the outstart of it. The outset of Greco-Roman. So let's just see. Tom Harvey calling the entire team to the sideline. Obviously some discipline concerns that I think the coaches want to talk about while the officials discuss what the outcome will be. And those officials are super bad.
McLovin it.
We are McLovin those officials as they're still in the centre of the field to try and decide what the outcome of this one will be.
I feel like that was a bit of an insult actually to the officials because they've called it fairly well.
What? Superbad's a good. If you say something, well, no, not.
It depends in what term you're saying it.
Yeah.
But no, in fairness to the officials, they've called a very, very good game so far.
And you know, generally speaking, as much as when you're playing the game, obviously the officials you can argue with, you've got to give it to the fact that without them, none of us would play this game ever.
Absolutely.
All sort of okay. They get a little bit of money as we listen to referee Gibson. Well, Coach Scott is coming on the field. Let's listen to what is going on. Escorting Jack Casey, linebacker, off.
Looks like UON think it's against them, looking at where their
It
defense
does
is
indeed.
lined up.
It does indeed. Gons remonstrating as well on the field. Let's listen to referee Gibson.
We have a live ball foul, personal foul, against 18. He is ejected from the game. We also have a dead ball foul against 46, unsportsmanlike, against Pink. That's a 15-yard penalty. So it's a half distance to the goal, then 15 yards back.
Well, that was a little bit of a surprising call.
Didn't really see what happened to be worthy of an ejection at that point. I know we've not seen it on a replay, but
unless Jack Casey was the man that was pinned to the ground, but
and then
reacted badly.
Yeah, maybe so, but nevertheless,
it's often the man that reacts that gets the punishment.
I was speaking to one of the officials before the game, and when we did the Leicester Caesars game, there was an incident where there was a little bit of a fracas, shall we say, as a player left the field of play, flipped the ball towards one of the opposition coaches,
and got several instruments
he
thrown
did.
at him.
Indeed he did, but the official I was talking to before the game was very much in the favour of whoever commits the initial penalty should be the one that's pinged for it rather than the retaliation, purely because if that initial incident hadn't have occurred, there wouldn't have been retaliation. So if Jack Casey has retaliated there and there hasn't been anything the other way, or that's an interesting one. But nevertheless, as we were saying, these officials do a good job, and there's still an issue.
as it looks like I can see Jack Casey down in the stand now, enjoying an early post-game beverage. But I don't think Trent are happy about where Jack is currently located, and the coaches are trying to remonstrate that he's indeed out of the field of play and out of the way. So now I think it's been deemed that he's not going to be permitted to stay there, as Coach Jason Scott approaches him to try and sort this one out. A little bit petty, but I think by rule he has to be
out of the venue.
Yeah.
I think is actually what it's scripted as in the rule book.
I think that's right, and Coach Scott is escorting Jack Casey off the field, and obviously to get off the field here he needs to go via the NTU bench, which is why the officials have given him a bit of an escort off, along with Coach Jason Scott. And all this will do is it will fuel the rivalry, as Casey gives a bit of a fist pump to his fans as he passes between the two sets of bleachers on the far side. And Jason Scott still remonstrating with the official. He's holding up the number 4 on his fingers, and that can only mean one thing. It's indicating the 4th time.
A little bit of salt there.
Absolutely. Indicating the 4th time that the men in green have been on the winning end of this fixture this season alone. So anyway, let's see if the Renegades can answer after that long stoppage in play. Cardenas at quarterback again. He looks to run himself, and he picks up a good chunk of yardage on first down. And he's going to be close to a first down himself. And indeed has been signalled, and again, no intention of ever than running that ball. And he picks up first down, and that will be 1st and goal Renegades. So although it very much looks as though the University of Nottingham will be winning this one, let's see if the Renegades can salvage a little bit of pride and find their way back into the UON end zone. I'm sure there'll be some repercussions after the game following that Jack Casey incident. Hopefully it'll all end peacefully though, and in the spirits intended, as Gons this time does get the ball, and Gons is stopped immediately by number 36, Sashan Dale. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. So yeah, prior, while we were talking to all that, the officials, and indeed there, when the officials have to sort out incidents such as that, and they do get paid for what they do, but it's obviously not a king's wage or anything like that.
Not a lucrative job by any means.
Absolutely, you do it for the enjoyment rather than from the financial rewards, definitely. So you have to give the officiating crew, and as I say, an officiating crew of 8 this evening, which is unheard of, all the credit in the world. Here we go, Cardenas drops back again. He's got a man out in the end zone, and it is almost caught. Just out of the reach of his intended receiver. Struggling to catch a number from this distance. I think that's Watson.
Paul Watson.
Number 15, it is indeed Paul Watson who was the intended target, which will bring up 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. You would think that they're not going to do anything else but make 2 attempts from here. They've got nothing to lose, nothing can particularly go wrong other than possibly a pick 6 the other way, 85 yards.
Stranger things have happened.
And they absolutely have, and that's why we love this game so much, because things can change so quickly. The result's not going to change here today. The scoreline could change significantly. Cardenas and Gons in the backfield, and here is Cardenas, and he looks to run up the middle, and he's got a little bit of room. He puts his head down. Ball's come out. Let's see what the call is here.
Looks like they've called
touchdown. Let's have a look if we can see.
So he puts his head down there. His forward momentum is stopped, but only just. And that ball does squiggle out. And without obviously any instant replay, and there's no flags on the play, that has been called a touchdown for the Renegades. Here it is once more. Have a quick look. He takes a step back, takes off immediately on this quarterback draw. And there is the initial contact, and then the ball comes out. And there is a flag now, which can only be a dead ball foul, because it was a long time after the play. And you would think that this dead ball foul will be against the University of Nottingham for remonstrating about the decision. Number 36, Sashandale, is waving his hands in disbelief. And unfortunately, this one is getting a little ugly towards the end.
There's a lot of bitterness at times between these two universities. And it's the first time in a long time that the University of Nottingham have walked over the Renegades this
The result of the play is a touchdown. We have unsportsmanlike, number 10. NTU have elected to take the penalty on the kickoff, 15-yard penalty.
That's Pierce Rapanti, the touchdown scorer and the touchdown thrower with that jump pass earlier on in this period, who's penalised for unsportsmanlike conduct. With it being an extra point, the Renegades don't gain anything from moving that ball much further forward, as it's on the 2-yard line anyway. So what they will do is they'll assess the penalty on the kickoff, which means, all being well, the Renegades will pin the University of Nottingham students deeper in their own territory for their next drive. And there can't be a lot of time left in this one. But a bit of pride salvage there, and Cardenas looks to go for 2 here. And a low snap, and he does well to pick it up, and he's in trouble. He's got a man, and he just throws that.
Oh, what a grab!
He does make the grab. The signal is, let's have a look at the signal.
Looks like they've called him out of bounds, though.
I think they may have called it incomplete. Let's have a look here on the replay again. So, very athletic, but I think it's difficult to tell from this angle.
No, that was super bad. Super grab. Bad where he caught it.
There is a flag on the play, though, once again, and that will once again be a dead ball foul. I think this time against NTU. And therefore, the penalty that was going to be assessed in NTU's favour on the kickoff will be nullified. We've had 4 plays and 3 penalties.
Can defence have excessive celebration?
They can. That is a call.
The result of the play is incomplete. Therefore, the PAT is no good. We have unsportsmanlike against 84. That penalty will offset the penalty against Nottingham. Therefore, the kickoff will take place in the normal place.
And there we go. So that's Gons that penalty was against. And again, that will have been for arguing, no doubt, about the fact that that PAT was no good. And therefore, rather than NTU having an advantage on this kickoff, it's as you were. And that scoreline looks very similar, as we mentioned, to the one we had last year in favour of the Trent team, rather than the men in green.
Just 2 points in it.
But I must say, with I know both teams don't have their full starting lineups out today, and I think as much as you'd come out here expecting to win, and I'm really wanting to win, I think when NTU look back on this one with the size of the squad they've had, and you mentioned about the likes of Tom Harvey playing both ways, offence and defence, I don't think they'll be massively disappointed with this. Although
no, not at all. And both teams have quality at depth, and I think that's been a real key to their success over the years for both teams. Yeah, it's not great, but we're in the middle of exam season for some universities now. And players will pick and choose. Both teams will have guys, I'm sure, in Europe. Tamworth obviously being key contributor to the lack of players, or shorter, lesser amount of players, should I say, for University of Nottingham. But I think the Renegades will be happy with their performance so far, and they've still got a little bit of time left to try and get another score.
It's unusual, isn't it? If you think of sport in general, it's unusual to be able to maintain the high standards, to keep you at your top of your game for a long time. I mean, the likes of the Birmingham Lions have been there for a while, and And obviously the London teams, the London Blitz and the London Warriors are there or thereabouts, but again they have such...
When you have a draw of
exactly.
8 million people.
Exactly, and that makes it much easier. These two clubs, obviously, I think Coach Walkinshaw alluded to it in the pre-game interview. Not so long ago, it was the UON team that were scrabbling to find a way to get the better of Trent. And Trent were dominant for four or 5 years or so. And now the shoe is on the other foot, as it were, and it's Trent that have to refine that formula. And whether that means an influx of new players, as Knott makes 2 men miss. Oh, a huge block on the sideline. A huge block, but there is a flag initially, and that flag where that is going to be offside against the Renegades on the kickoff, I would have thought.
Yeah, an absolutely ferocious hit there.
Oh, completely upended his man. Looked legal to me. Not very elusive when he gets that ball. The 2 first men coming in. He makes miss just for his pure speed off the mark. And then a block on the sideline allows him to...
Offside on the kicking team, 5 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
He allows Knott to spring the trap for a further few yards. And just like that, UON are in business again at midfield, and they won't want this one to end yet until they've got into the end zone once more. You can guarantee that. They won't want the Renegades having got the last score of the afternoon. Let's see if they can make their desires come true. Now what have we got here? Is that a delay of game? Can't be. That seemed to be a bit soon.
We have a legal substitution. Offence, 12 men was on the field, 5 yards, still first down.
And that's an inexperienced error from some of these players. So 12 men on the field, marches the University of Nottingham back 5 yards. And this one has got a little bit scrappy. And I suppose it's always likely to happen when you have the emotion that you do between these two. End of season, both teams trying to prove themselves against each other. It's bound to get a little scrappy.
It's the fourth quarter. It's been the fourth quarter for quite a while.
It has indeed, as Tunde drops back to pass, and he's got a man, and it's just out of his reach. Looking for Lambert, Laquan Lambert, the intended receiver, and he had a step on his defender. And as George says...
I do apologise, technology has eluded me.
It's not ordinary that George and I have anything else to worry about other than commentating on the game and collating sort of stats and reading out information about the teams, but
then they put technology in my hand.
This evening George has the scoreboard operation to deal with too, along with tiredness and a gale that is now blowing through this commentary stand. So 2nd and 15 after the illegal substitution penalty. James Revel in motion, and Revel does get the handoff, and that's a great defensive play. And that's number 50, Matt Stainton, in his final game for the Renegades, leading the charge into the backfield. You wonder actually, now that the University of Nottingham appear to be marching backwards, whether they will go for too much more in this one, or whether they'll be happy with the scoreline as it stands. 3rd and long, maybe 3rd and 20. I'll give you the credit of 19, George. Tunde rolls to his right, he pops the ball up and nobody there, had to get rid of that because he was under pressure. He was under pressure from Ollie Maloney. And that will bring up 4th down, and for the first time, it appears that Tunde will leave the field, and the University of Nottingham students will punt for what I think is the first time this evening. So, 4th and 19. Joe Beams back to kick. It appears to be Matt Eisenhower, number 36, back to receive for the Renegades. See if Eisenhower can spark any... Oh, there's that one stop. Oh, now then. I think that was just because the whistle had gone, but Joe Beams ran to the right sideline as if he was going to take off and run that football, but...
And it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they did.
I agree. I don't necessarily look for Beams to put his foot through this one. He may well have some other trickery up his sleeve. We've seen the basketball jump shot for a touchdown. We've seen a variety of power formations. We saw the attempted Philly special, where one of the backs tried to throw the ball out to a receiver. Was successful for 4 yards. Beams does put his foot through it, and what a kick that is. That's an outstanding kick. And the ball is muffed, and it's still live.
Ooh, and that is going to hurt in the morning.
It is indeed. Wow. And in fact, it's not Eisenhower, my mistake, who was back there earlier on. It's 26, it's Osho Sanya. So Osho Sanya.
Even if he had taken it clean, I think he would have still had the boom laid on him.
I think he would indeed.
That was an absolutely monster hit.
But a great kick from Beams to reverse the advantage there. Kicking from his own 25-yard line, he's pinned the Renegades back inside their own 5-yard line. 85 yards to pay dirt for another piece of Renegade pride, even though this will be a losing effort at 27-12 down late in the fourth quarter. So once again, always comes to the point where we like to thank our crew on events like this. Steve Matthews and Tom Howe in the booth as a new quarterback comes in. And he completes his first pass, and he's got his man down the sideline, and he's still on his feet out to the 30-yard line for the Renegades. That's a nice first pass.
There's Andy Horton, the new quarterback in. He's a former product of the Sunwell Steelers youth team.
So, nice first completion. Under the spotlights, as I was saying, Steve Matthews and Tom Howe, directors, putting all this together for us this evening. Quick one onto Twitter, Jason Bodler. It's turned into an East Midlands Bengals versus Steelers. It has. Well, this rivalry's always been like that one. We've got Alex up with us here in the booth on our main.
That is going to be false starts on the whole offense.
Wow.
Before the play began, false start. 15.
He didn't know which number to
5
call.
yards.
It's just
still one.
Pick a number, ref. It could be any of them. So
there were at least 2 receivers on the far side that jumped there.
As we were saying, Alex is up with us in the commentary position. Some great camera work as ever. We've got Gary, who's got our sideline cam, giving you shots from the close angles. We have Joe operating the replay this evening, and obviously all these guys giving up their time to bring you this East Midlands varsity rivalry matchup, and I think that's going to be another false start.
Before the play began, false start, 51 offense, 5 yards, still one.
And you can see number 51, Craig Martin, livid with himself as he knew he'd twitched. Brings up 1st and 20.
That looks like somebody's calling
My time, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
And
2 minutes.
The somebody who has called the time is the clock.
Somebody's got to.
And that's the 2-minute warning in this one. 2-minute warning in what has been a relatively entertaining varsity game, I think. It's had touchdowns, it's had long runs,
it's had ejections,
big hits, it's had long catches, it's had trick plays. It's had everything, really. And for the University of Nottingham squad, it's had that all-important W. As Horton drops back again and floats another nice pass out. And that's Watson on the reception. He picks up a couple. But then he's met immediately. And one thing that isn't going to happen is that these University of Nottingham students aren't going to give any quarter. And that looks like a timeout Renegades. So the Renegades aren't just going to let this one die out.
Timeout, NTU. their second time out.
They're going to keep playing to the end and try and put another score on the board if they can.
The rain's just started here as well.
As indeed.
Beautiful British summer as always.
If only we could have had a game on the bank holiday weekend. We could have got a tans, we could have had my Hawaiian shirt out again, George.
I was unavailable.
Oh.
This weekend, that's why they've obviously arranged the fixture for a Wednesday night.
Okay.
I was in Blackpool, soaking up the sun.
Good weekend?
Very, very good weekend.
Warm up there?
Very warm, yeah.
Hot up there?
Ow.
Raindrop in the eye? I noticed that. So here we go, 2nd and 17 for the Renegades. Horton still at quarterback. Cardenas now alongside him at running back. Oh, and that ball snapped before he's ready, and Horton does manage to get rid of it. It's a nice bounce, it's a nice catch. And Watson gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but then he's tackled very well by number 23.
They've actually put him back 2 yards.
Andre Tavs with the tackle, but to say Horton was looking the completely opposite direction when that ball was snapped, as you can see here. It takes a one hopper, he picks it up and delivers a decent ball out to Watson, but a good open field tackle by Tavs.
Yeah, I think he's very much lined up to be, as it stands, the Renegades starting quarterback for next year. He has just come off a major shoulder injury, so he's doing pretty well.
So 3rd down, 3rd and 20, I think, at least. 19 we have on screen, but I think it's as close to 20 as anything. 2 receivers either side for the Renegades. Late in this 4th quarter, another little swing pass, and that's a risky one which goes over Anthony Vanessa's head. Brings up 4th down, and the Renegades will kick this one away. Too close, really, to their own goal line for them to risk going for this here, because that could well be another uni of touchdown. Uni of touchdown, there's a place to study. All right. Never mind.
Just give you that blank expression
there.
there.
That's very much how you were when I used to be a student at the school I taught at. Just blank expressions all day long.
Well, you know.
So, back deep to receive is the ever dangerous Derek Knott. Let's see if he can provide a final spark in the 2018 varsity match. Stay with us after the game. George and I will be hot-footing it down the ladder into the sideline studio for a brief wrap-up of this game where, all being well, we'll have James Ramsey and Will Hobbs. What a spiralling kick that is, and what an NTU bounce. And Knott decides to get away from it, and it is downed by number 46, Lewis Hyde, and that's a great kick.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful punt.
So in the dying embers of this game, UON will probably have one final attempt to see if they can extend that lead and go over the 30-point barrier. It does have the feeling, though, that we know we're inside the 2-minute warning. There can't be much more than a few seconds left, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't think at this stage now either team will use any of their timeouts. There's little to gain from it. So Tunde's still in at quarterback. I'd imagine this one, it's pass, this drops back to pass, puts the ball out. And there's in between 2 receivers, in between Dom Corbett and Sammy Herzl. 2nd and 10 upcoming. The clock stops, the rain continues. Second and 10, University of Nottingham in this varsity winning effort for 2018. The rain I can see now in the floodlights really starting to team down. See if Tunde, no running backs behind him, so looks like he's going to run again, and he flips the ball back over to number 58. And number 58 picks up a few. And that's Rob Sterling, offensive lineman. And I do believe that may well be the game. Waiting for the officials to put a hand in the air. No? debating in the centre. Referee Muzz Gibson has the football in his hand, but no.
Holding. Offence, number 85. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
It is indeed a penalty, rather than the end of the game. Marching UON back, delaying the inevitable. As I said once again, Onside Productions will be back on your screens this Saturday in Tamworth for the Euro encounter between the Brit Bowl champion Tamworth Phoenix and the Swedish opponent, the Karlstad Crusaders, as Tunde drops back, hands the ball off on a little jet sweep to Alex Sarby, and Sarby gets out of bounds. Just shy of a first down. I believe the Euro game on Saturday is once again an evening kickoff out in Tamworth.
6 o'clock kickoff, I believe.
I think that's correct.
6:30, somewhere around
Indeed. 6:30 out in sunny Tamworth. Another penalty.
Timeout, Nottingham.
Timeout by the University
Second
of Nottingham.
timeout.
Seems rather redundant at this stage, but nevertheless. So, George, has this game pretty much gone the way you expected?
I think we were always going to see a University of Nottingham win. I don't like to call any team out before the game, but I think it was always going to be a green win. I think the score looks a little bit favourably on the Renegades, perhaps. Their offence really hasn't been working. They've had one score from defence, which is half of that big fat 12. I know UON, looking around, have been putting in some of their second, third, fourth string guys as well. So, yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a green win from what I'm concerned about, or from what I thought before the game.
And I think, like you say, with the fact that we've seen the depth chart in operation for the UON, I think it does bode well for them. As not, oh, that's beautifully done! And what a finish to this one! Alex Sarby goes 70 yards on the hook and ladder play to wrap things up for the University of Nottingham. Wow! That is insane! And what a nail to put in the coffin. No flags on the play. Oh, I hope we can see that one again, because that was executed to perfection.
You don't see that play very often.
Oh, wow. I'm not sure we've got a replay, unfortunately.
The game is over. The game is finished.
And that is the final play of the game. Oh, my word. Tunde Pratt flipped the ball out to... Oh, I'm speechless. Tunde Pratt flips the ball out, or fires the ball out, to Derek Knott on a little hook pattern, who immediately after catching flips the ball back on a lateral reverse pass to Alex Sarby, who sprints onto it at pace and takes the ball 70 yards to pay dirt to give us a final score.
Yeah, absolutely perfect, that play. Mama would be proud.
And the University of Nottingham students 33 and the Nottingham Trent University Renegades 12 to give the men in green their second varsity win and bring the series a little closer at 7-2 as far as the American football goes, and extend the 2018 varsity series in favour of the University of Nottingham students. Wow, wow, wow. George, even in your tired, wet state, that's got to be a little bit exciting, that one?
It was a great play. You don't see it that often. It was executed so well, and the explosiveness of Sowerby to take it the 60 yards after the pass had been completed was well, electric.
Well, I think in what was just about petering out to be a little bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah, particularly after all the penalties that we'd seen before that point as well.
That is a fantastic way to finish this year's varsity. So we're going to head down to the sideline to wrap this one up, hopefully catch a few interviews and say goodbye very shortly. But until then, we'll leave you with these pictures of the victorious University of Nottingham students in 2018 varsity American football. We're back in a tick.
Varsity is a platform for the celebration
of student sport within Nottingham.
And I am proud to represent
My team.
University.
And city.
In this historic competition.
In the name of all the competitors and spectators.
I pledge to uphold the true spirit of sportsmanship.
To respect our opponents.
And the facilities.
and communities.
in which the competition takes place.
We will respect everyone.
Regardless of our differences.
We'll give everything for our teammates.
Abiding by the rules.
Which govern our sports and the series overall.
We win together.
We lose together.
For the glory of sport.
May the best team win.
Somebody's not giving you the right mic. I can't hear you.
Yeah, whatever number 2 Mike is.
Who's talking? I can hear someone talking. I don't... Wow! What a finish that was! As much as it might pain you to see that finish, hook and ladder, when it's executed like that, is always good to watch. One of your play calls?
I wish. That was a great play by Pat Daly, who dialed that one up. It's executed really, really well as well.
And we mentioned earlier on the first half finished, realistically, it should have been that 7-6 scoreline, but for the late UN score. You guys were in it early doors.
Yeah, it definitely felt like there was something to be had early on, and then it was a silly pick, 4th down. There's no real need to throw at that point. There's nothing too far away from us, so silly, but it happened. So we continued from there.
I think you mentioned a few minutes ago when I was chatting to you that the strength of NTU has always been their defence. And although the Uniov have got some of the backup players in there, I think that was proof again, the fact that there were 2 4 and out occasions, basically where you stopped them on 4th down and then looked to gain some momentum.
Well, AD has always been a defensive-minded head coach, and Carl's an amazing coach at what he does. It's the one team that was able to break it down this year, and it's happened again. But not as badly as I think a lot of people would have themed. Obviously, we had a dud from your prediction earlier that we'd get absolutely nothing. So we got something. Although it wasn't the result that I wanted and the result that everyone else in pink wanted today, I think it was closer than a lot of people gave us credit for.
Sum up, how do you think Tunde played at quarterback this afternoon?
I think it's his rookie year, and it showed in some cases. Other cases, flash of brilliance. I mean, that opening drive was just phenomenal, really. And I think it's just getting to grips with leading the team and getting used to the quarterback position, which is difficult for anyone just starting the sport. So I think it's been fantastic, really.
And Derek Knott always looks dangerous when he gets his hands on the ball.
Human cheat code. Just put him in, he's going to make things happen, you know.
Moving forward, obviously in the first half we saw Alex Cardenas. I've probably not pronounced that right, but is that not bad? Obviously running back, playing quarterback. In the absence of your starting queue. Later, I thought Alex played really quite well and led the team, even with his short stature. I thought he led the team relatively well.
Yeah, Alex has been taking snaps at QB for the last few training sessions. It's his knowledge of the game, if nothing else. He's got a huge. You can see him talking to the QB, talking to every player before the snap. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to execute it. And with the mind like that, he could play QB. He could probably play anywhere if he wanted to with that sort of knowledge.
And even when Horton came in at the end, you still saw from commentary that it was Alex that was still talking to the O-line and directing the play, even though the ball was coming down to Horton.
He's a very intelligent guy, Alex. He talks to the coaches before every play in practice, so he knows exactly what's happening when they do it for real. And he's an asset to the team in every aspect.
Obviously, maybe a little bit of bad feeling developing as that game went on, particularly with the Jack Casey ejection. Obviously, your head coach shepherded him off the field and walking back with the 4 fingers held high, obviously indicating the 4 wins this year. Is it something that will linger, or is that just a heat of the moment? Are the coaching staff generally friendly with each other?
Yeah, I think it's just heat of the moment. I mean, it's varsity, everything's lights are on, everyone's excited. It's just what happens, isn't it?
So that brings the overall series American football-wise to 7-2. I was corrected mid-commentary that it was 7-1 to Trent rather than the 6-1 we suggested, but 7-2. Where do Trent go from here? What do they need to do in the off-season to be ready for that charge next year?
Well, without sounding too cocky, our nearest competitor's gone. They're obviously in a high division now. And if we can do what we did this year, train hard, get in early, get the recruits that we did this year, because we did get some quite key members. There's nothing that tells me we can't go undefeated next year.
Bold prediction indeed. And from what we saw this afternoon, you mentioned about the fact that there were a number of starters not playing this afternoon for Uniov. With the size of the squad, George and I mentioned in commentary, in terms of the actual physicality size looking on the sideline, it looks like a Premiership outfit, even just by the sheer the physicality. Okay, and it makes me think that you've got that depth there to make it in the Prem next year.
Yeah, certainly hope so. That's the depth we've been building. We've been pulling out starters sometimes in the second quarter even, just to get people as many reps as possible, get people used to playing. And I certainly hope that going forward into the next year, we're going to have the size and now the confidence to do well in the Prem.
What's next for you then, James? What's your, obviously as part of the Trent media crew, is that your sort of where your almost your game is now?
Yeah, looking into next year, looking into probably staying in Nottingham, so you'll probably see much better coverage of the Nottingham games in general. Just looking to promote American football and promote the Renegades, and even if I have to, promote the students.
And Will, obviously I know a little bit what next for you. What's directly next is Karlstad on Saturday. Other than that, for Will Hobbs?
I don't know, just play out this season. Currently training with GB at the moment. Hopefully that'll push forward, make the trip to Finland. But that's all to go yet.
Well, thank you ever so much, both of you, for your time tonight and for your obvious support and love for both your universities. It's finished a little bit wet here, but it wasn't wet on the field. It was a fantastic finish to what was a real fierce rivalry out there, with the University of Nottingham students running out 33-12 victors on that amazing hook and ladder play. It's thanks to all the crew here on side. Thanks to James. Thanks to Will. Thanks to George alongside me in commentary. Our next game, as I mentioned, is in Tamworth on Saturday. Join us for that if you can. But for now, from a little bit of a soggy Lady Bay, it's good night from us all at Onside Productions. Good night.
I'm